The main argument that people historically had against identity cards was that somehow it would allow the state to, track us, follow us, control us in all sorts of potentially pernicious ways. Well, we've given Apple and Google and, or Alphabet as they're now called, and Meta, ludicrous amounts of ability to gather information about us and know about us, and yet we're sort of chilled about it. So, do I think that broadly an equivalent sort of essentially bit of identity that happens to have the state's branding on it would attract quite the same essentially concerns about civil liberties as was the case 15, 20 years ago? No, I don't think that. There would have to be significant checks and balances in respect of how the state used that information. But I think if you could make the case broadly that it would not only help to, as I say, reduce the black market in labour that suppresses wages, is a pull factor for asylum seekers who are, essentially just economic migrants. It would obviously be part of, part of all sorts of other improvements in services like health services, because you would probably link this kind of identity card to the NHS app, which could pull together all sorts of useful health information that would help us have speedier access. And this is stuff, to be clear, that I know the government is working on at a rate of knots. And, they will announce all of this when they feel that they've got a package and a product, to put it in simple terms, that is so obviously in most people's sort of quality of life interest.
Two quick questions then.
But it will be controversial. Yeah. Lots of civil liberties campaigners will worry about it, and lots of MPs will worry about it. So, I'm not arguing that in the end there won't be a massive furore about it, and the government will necessarily get it through. But I think that the conditions for getting it through are better than they've ever been.
Okay, two quick questions on that I think people will have. Number one, is your hunch that we might see this before the election?
Yeah,
we're definitely talking about.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to see it in the election.
Okay,
yeah, definitely going to see it.
That's the first question.
I suspect we'll see it in the next. I don't know whether we see the full-scale obligatory identity card in the next few months. No, but we will see a pilot within the next few months.
Is it conceivable that the government might go to the next stage once it's established it and start to say, right, you can't have a social media account, for the sake of argument, without an identity card?
Well, in terms of stopping
in the UK,
in respect of policing and preventing vulnerable young people from getting addicted to some of these social media platforms, plainly. Obviously there's an issue about at what age you get your identity card, but nonetheless, plainly it would be helpful. In the end, there would be, I think, all sorts of potential uses of that sort. My own view would be that's probably an infringement of freedom of expression too far. If it was simply you couldn't have any kind of social media account once you're 18 plus without proving your identity via an identity card, I'm not sure that is within the British tradition. I'd be surprised if that happened. But do I think that it would be completely inappropriate to have a rule that said you cannot get paid employment unless you show your identity card? I think that's reasonable.